Well, welcome to Partner 5 and 5. Robert here from Knight Solutions. Excited to be joined by another Procore Integration Partner. This week we have Acuite. We've got David and Hayley with us as well. And actually a little bit of a walk down memory lane. We've worked with David in collaboration on some Procore customers. And Hayley actually was a customer of ours in the past as well. So it's a really interesting mix. So welcome to the session, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good.
Excellent,
Good thing.
excellent. We'll try not to jibber jabber too much, as they say. It is still our goal and our ambition to keep this to 5 minutes, although we haven't yet. But for those who haven't watched before, this is Partner 5 and 5. So we ask five important questions to Procore partners, really just to kind of bring them to light, or if you've heard of them before, try and understand a bit more about them, trying to understand how you can take Procore as a platform and expand it using other services and other solutions. So Acuite is an analytics solution. I won't speak on their behalf in terms of the detail, but we'll jump right in, whether David or Hayley, whoever wants to jump in on this. But obviously the first question anyone watching this session wants to know is what are you guys at Acuite about? And fundamentally, what is the problem you're trying to solve for those in construction?
Yeah, well, I'll jump in. So, back in 2015, we started Acuite, and that was as a result of coming out of the construction sector myself. So, much like you, Rob, came out of the pains of managing sites and project managing and whatnot. So, the original concept at that point was to basically have your project report in real time. So, it was to be able to tap into all the different data sources that were floating around and to bring that in and be able to view your information right then and there without having to go to 12 different systems and scrape together information. So the way we did it back then was through manual reports, and we made up information that we didn't know, or covering up risk was always sort of an opportunist approach. We always thought that stuff would get better, and inevitably it didn't. So that was the original sort of mantra of Acuite,
Yeah.
but it's morphed massively since then, as you do, just being time in the market. So we've grown our integrations and all of our prefab insights and widgets, but we've, I guess, transformed the platform into something where you can interact with the data, which is really, I guess, what separates us out from Power BI, and from other sort of analytics and viewing platforms. So the ability to interact, add comments to information, have point in time reporting, and all of that's really come about as just working with customers, which is really the story of how we met Hayley back in the day, and
Yeah.
a big Procore customer using financials, especially with a lot of sort of edge case requirements and whatnot, doing a lot in Excel, and working with the team there for sort of 5 years to
Yeah,
get them
great.
all digital. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
no, definitely, and we've known of you guys and worked alongside you for quite a few years. It's definitely been a nice evolution, but it sounds like, I mean, definitely identifying with the pains you talked about in construction in the past. And I think, having, there's obviously a choice now when you're looking at analytics and reporting. So knowing that Acuite's out there and able to really deal with it. Of course, you guys do much more than financials, although financials, I think, fair to say, has become an increasingly big part of the platform. But obviously, you guys touch on quality and safety and other things as well. So that's really good. So let's jump to the next question, because I feel like we could probably talk all day. But we can use Hayley as a sort of example, but we can talk to other customers. You've got a lot of great customers. But if you're looking at that customer base, who is typically using Acuite inside that business the most? So is it kind of the project delivery team? Is it kind of the management team or the senior executives? Or where does kind of Acuite find its natural home inside of Procore customers who are using it?
Yeah, so I guess Hayley, if you want to jump in on the financial side, sort of the main users there, and then I can touch on the others.
Yeah, so it starts at the project level. So
Yep.
with the financials, you're looking at contracts administrators, project managers, the health and safety and quality. So health and safety managers, site
Yep.
managers, quality assurance managers. And then from the financial end, all the other modules within Acuite, it rolls up. So it goes from up to your construction manager to review their group of projects. Goes up to even like the CFO director level to see
Mm.
those company roll-ups, whether it's financial, safety, quality.
Okay. Sounds like everyone's, well, or maybe not everyone, but there's a lot of people who are engaged in using Acuite, which is kind of reflective of the way we're seeing Procore used as well, which brings us kind of to our next question. So if we're a Procore customer and we're looking at, potentially getting Acuite and we're evaluating if we're going to go ahead with it, just explain us at a high level kind of what data connects or what connection points are there between Procore and Acuite, and how does that kind of work? And feel free to kind of bring in some of the other integrations, because I think that's an important point as well, because it's not just that Acuite connects to Procore, but it connects to a range of things. But what gets connected with Procore and Acuite, and what are the other systems that are commonly seen and connected to Acuite as well, to give you that total picture?
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, construction's not just one-dimensional, as we all know. So a traditional customer has probably 6 to 8 integrations fired up in Acuite. So that can include P6, MS Project, often a combination of both. Sometimes there's Aconex sitting in there, and you'll have, Workbench, Teambinder, just a whole range of different platforms. So that can all interact with Procore, and the integration with Procore is pretty deep, just through natural customer sort of acquisition and whatnot over the years. We've just had requests sort of that tap into pretty much all of Procore now. So with the financials, Hayley, it's pretty much everything that we touch on there, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and in the back end, it's we also tap into Sage 300, Run Job Pack, Workbench. So expanding the integrations out all the time. But
I think there's a lot of symmetry and sort of the sum of the parts is greater than the whole situation there as well, because as Procore's moving, you mentioned Job Pack, and I'll just use that as one example that I know you guys have been integrated with Job Pack for some time, but Procore recently kind of built its Job Pack connector. So now it's kind of a triangle of connectivity, which is going to open up a lot of options as well. That's obviously really great. And I think one of the biggest things for me, and we do have a lot of customers come to us and say, look, we've used Procore reporting. It's kind of, got us through for now, and it's kind of enough, which is where we always encourage people to start, walk before you run. And they come to us and go, well, what's the next step in the journey with data? Obviously, Procore's got Procore Analytics, which is a really great product, but it's a different type of product and a lot of pre-built stuff. One of the things that I always liked about Acuite was that you guys had a bit of at least the way I pitched it, and I didn't check this with you, but it's kind of a hybrid approach where you can, instead of getting flooded with all this kind of pre-built stuff, there's kind of a baseline of stuff, but you can then manipulate, change, and adjust it. And of course, you can also put requests in for, which I know Hayley was pretty active with where she was working. We'd like to see this. It's not a current feature, and then once that's developed, it eventually becomes a feature that kind of everyone as Acuite customers benefits from. So I've found in general, it's an analytics system that is a lot less daunting to take on board. And you don't need a data scientist kind of experience or sort of jumping and learning everything from scratch. Very user friendly and flexible, but also not so much flexibility and that it's a blank canvas and you kind of lose yourself in it. Which is what we find a lot of people with data systems. They go all in and then they end up in this whole new universe, and they start to sink because they don't know what they're doing. And as I spoke to a couple of data scientists not long ago, they said that's actually a real profession. You don't just learn it from a few YouTube videos. So I think that's a really nice. Would that be a fair way to kind of pitch Acuite? I know that's a very simplified way.
Yeah, look, mate, information overload is just such a thing, and so we hide a lot behind the scenes, and we only expose sort of what people want, and we work pretty closely with customers to draw that stuff out from behind the scenes to what they need to view, rather than just present them with everything that's possible straight away, and then they just get
I totally agree. And then the other differential then there for you guys is that surfacing data in Power BI or many other systems is kind of exactly that. It's surfacing data, but there is that layer in Acuite that you can comment and engage and kind of add functionality on top of it, because we often see it, no product, including Procore, is perfect. There's always something that a customer wants that might not be part of it yet, or isn't going to be part of it, or just a special request that they can not just see the data but engage with the data. Is that an area that you're kind of getting a lot of use?
Yeah, that's really sort of propelled the platform, I think, out of that visualization and just sort of broad brush analytics base. So the ability to interact with the information, and just everybody wants to report slightly differently, or they have their own metrics. They want to generate their own insights that's sort of not pre-built. So and it's important if you're mixing data as well, that you have the ability to do that, whether it's program and financials, and also being able to, like you mentioned before, express your comments, and to be able to support the information, especially when it's telling you a story you don't really want to be told. You need to be able to support that. So
we've all been there, end of month reporting. But I mean, I think that's good, because if you don't have that ability, we all know where it ends up. It's going to be dumped into Excel and then manipulated there. Exactly. Which Excel is not the big bad person here. That definitely has its place, but I think that makes a lot of sense. But look, I don't want to waffle all day. We've got to jump to the next question. I have two more left for you. So the fourth one was just, if we're looking at this and potentially looking at Acuite and saying we want to go on board, what's the experience like, and what happens after we purchase? So what's the kind of implementation and onboarding and rollout process, and then how do they get supported long term as a customer?
Yeah, so look, we're modular based, so it really depends on what element of the system you're looking to take on. But for an enterprise customer looking to really digitize their monthly report, tapping into 6, 8, 10 different systems, we work with you to understand your requirements. We match that to what we have already in Acuite as much as possible. That forms then a roadmap of things that are missing, that we need to implement. But generally, we can find that we can provide sort of 70-80% value straight away, and then work on that other 20%. And a financial sort of approach, Hayley, is pretty quick. Our last customer, like Low Living, $30-50 million sort of company, we had them up and running in 5 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 5 weeks. That's a pretty good track record. And then ongoing support after that.
It's 24/7, mate. All time zones. You know what it's like.
Sleep. All right, fantastic. No, I'm assuming it's someone else manning the phone, so to speak.
Yeah, look, we have in-app support. All the tutorials and things.
All right, cool. Well, we've worked together with a couple of customers, and I've seen, with where Hayley was and some other ones, not just Australia, but New Zealand as well. We've seen it develop some interesting products as a result of customer kind of input, which is always a standout thing that I've seen at Acuite. But just really curious for the last question, as much as you can disclose. I know Groundbreak for Procore is coming up in a couple of weeks, and you might have a couple of things up your sleeve, but where's Acuite going next 6-12 months? What's the focus for you guys? Any kind of updates or features or functionality that you want to talk to that you're going to be adding in the future?
Yeah, look, the roadmap is pretty massive. So where to start on that? I think the big focus is for us around the financial reporting, and also risk and opportunity. So we're about to release some pretty advanced R&O functionality that can feed into Procore financials.
We have a few customers asking about risk and opportunity. Yes.
Yeah, so that's coming up. We're also doing some great work with Electrify America as well on the schedule front. So that's all feeding out of Procore, but some pretty gnarly analytics and dashboards there to showcase how things are going. So yeah, look, the longer term, it's a very everybody flies this flag, of course, but it's predictive analytics and AI and being able to front foot risk. So this is where the R&O stuff is sort of leading us down that path. So it's exciting.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. We've gone, I think, through the data process now. It's still sort of somewhat new to some people, but seeing all the data and having all the data is now kind of the accepted norm. I think now it's all about serving it up and sort of saying, look, we've looked at your data, and so you don't have to spend time traipsing through it. Here's the things that we think you need to jump onto.
It's
which
about
is ultimately going to free up time.
trying to be minimalistic with it too, which is a challenge, like the whole exception reporting, and again, not overloading people, with too much. There's just too much information in this world already. So
I actually always have this vision of kind of like predictive analytics. You remember the old paperclip from Microsoft? It used to pop up in the corner and you couldn't get the thing to bloody stop doing it.
Yeah.
I always imagine like that's the path you don't want to go. You don't want to bring back. He had a name. I can't remember his name. Clippy or something. Anyway.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down that path and just hit you every 5 seconds.
I was pretty young then, mate, but I
I'm showing my age. I'm showing my age, but you remember, you remember Windows 95. You were there. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We're actually definitely gone over the 5 minutes. We're well into 10, but it's been great going through things. So we'll provide some links and information for everyone, but definitely recommend that you check out Acuite. Really legitimate option if you're looking at analytics and that you're looking at a few different options out there. Procore have their own. There's other integrations, but I think Acuite should be definitely right up there at the top of the list as well. And we'll make sure we provide everyone some information. But thanks for your time, David and Hayley. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you sometime soon, I'm sure.
Awesome. Cheers, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.